What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You dead meat!
Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the after show for Chucky Season 2 on Dead Meat. We're going to be talking about Episode 6. He is risen indeed. Fuck you, good Chucky. I trusted you, and you did that. I'm sorry. Today, to join us for this episode is Alex, Vincent, and Christine Elise, who, of course, play Andy and Kyle. I'm so upset. Hey, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, James. Thanks for having us. Good to see you again.
Great to see you. We just spent a room together a couple of weekends ago at Monster Palooza. Alex, your table was bumping that whole time. I wanted to ask, have you, because you've been doing horror conventions, right?
For a long time.
Yeah. Have you seen an uptick in guests, both of you, since the show has come back and like reintroduced your characters into the fold?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been doing these for 20 years now, going on 20 years. And yeah, of course, the show has brought not only a new generation, but a uplift and excitement for what we're doing, for sure. And yeah, it's awesome. It's a very cool thing to see people as excited about this show as we are.
Yeah, and I've only been doing these shows for about 10 or 12 years, but it used to be a pretty even distribution of people dressed as Mike Myers and Jason and Freddy. And the Scream thing. And now Chucky sort of dominates. I would say 2/3 of the people that are doing cosplay are doing Chucky cosplay. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I see a lot of Chucky cosplay. Actually, I was going to say among all genders, but I do see, I think predominantly among women, like especially young women, love dressing up as Chucky, which is great.
Or Tiffany.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chucky was very heavily represented at Son of Monster Palooza and New York City Comic Con the week before.
I just saw a post on Reddit, I think yesterday, of someone who sent their, I think 5-year-old young girl dressed as Tiffany to school for their Halloween thing, and she looked great. She had like the boots and the jacket and everything. I love that these characters have such a wide array of costumes and representations for people to celebrate and enjoy.
Not only the ones that are sold, but people make their own and make their individual version of them. And yeah, it's super cool to see people all over the world embracing this character and putting their own flair to it.
And Glenn and Glenda are going to start making their appearances at shows now.
Yes, that'll be so cool to see people's take on those characters as well, because they're so fashionable. They have such elaborate costuming that I think you could have a lot of fun with that.
Absolutely.
We finally get a return of Andy in this episode after the premiere. Of course, you know, the general rule for horror movies is if you don't see a body, that character's not dead. So I never believed you were dead. Kyle, never believed Kyle was dead in season 1. I didn't count her on the kill count, even though Chucky did in the end of his episode. But the return of Andy's really cool because you got this castaway look going on, long hair, long beard. Was that, I'm assuming, makeup effects done by Sid and her team?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't grow that in time for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really fun, you know, for a character that I've been doing for so long to step into something new in appearance, you know, and kind of just further emphasized version of his torment. It was difficult to wear that in the middle of summer in Toronto. I could tell you that. But it was super fun. And I got nearly kicked off a set a couple times thinking that a homeless person had wandered about.
Really? I do love that, you know, they bring you in with you posing as like a vagrant, and I expect an episode to be spent on them hiding you. But no, they walk through the front door and Father Bryce is standing right there. I'm like, this is what I love about the Chucky show. It's not wasting any time. We're just moving and going, and it's a great development.
And rarely what you expect.
Exactly. Yeah. Always a turn like that friggin' ending with good Chucky and Nadine. It's going to take me a while to get over that. I literally watched the episode like right before we started. So I'm still processing and I'm displeased. I'm curious to see what the internet says because everyone seems to love good Chucky, but also love Nadine. So the battle lines will be drawn.
That's going to be a tough one for people to take. I think she's become much beloved very quickly. So
Bella is such just an infectious glee to her. It's great. And yeah, that's gonna be tough. So Alex, I know that Don contacted you to be at the end of Curse for that cameo after a long time of obviously being away from the franchise since 1990 with Child's Play 2. Did you expect to continue on with the series after that cameo? Because it does leave on a cliffhanger, so I'm assuming you guys were like, there are future plans in order as well.
Of course. I mean, I certainly hoped so. Just because we want to make more Chucky doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen. So there's always that time period of hoping that we can make this work. But yeah, Don and I had been talking pretty frequently for a couple years preceding that. So I was hoping I would get that call from him. I was very thrilled to get it. And then each subsequent call since that, he gets to tell me he still wants Andy around is always, incredibly gratifying and exciting, and something I'm endlessly thankful for.
Yeah, Christine, I'm wondering if you saw Curse of Chucky or were aware that Alex had returned in that cameo, and if so, then did you start thinking, oh, maybe there's also a return for Kyle? Because Kyle didn't come back until the next movie, Cult of Chucky, similarly in a post-credits cameo.
Yeah, I saw it. Dawn invited me to the screening in Los Angeles, so I saw it on a big screen with a big audience. Dawn had approached me to be in Curse at one point, to play a different character and not play Kyle, and it didn't work out, thank God, because they had to hire a Canadian actress, not an American one. So it would have been a really sort of anticlimactic return for me.
What role was it?
Nika's mother.
Oh, okay. So Sarah Pierce. Okay. Pretty pivotal character for the storyline, but yeah, pretty small part on screen, and definitely not Kyle with the legacy love behind her.
Right. And also, how can I be Fiona's mother? What the fuck? So when I was happy to see Alex, that, Jennifer's got a cameo at the end of that too. And yeah, of course I hoped that I would be the next surprise. And then I was the next surprise and had to keep that secret for a year, with everybody assuming that because of Andy at the end of Curse, that it would be Kyle at the end of Cult. And I wasn't allowed to say it was true, and I wasn't allowed to say it wasn't true. Like, Dawn, what am I supposed to say? Just be coy. That's easier said than done. Just be coy. I got to say something. So I started saying, we shot 2 endings, and I don't know which one they're going to use, so I don't know.
Okay, nice.
It's a lie, but got me out of the answer.
Kind of a sidestepping lie, yeah.
Chucky makes us lie sometimes.
Yeah, because there aren't any good Chuckies, turns out. Yeah.
And I had to keep the fact that Kyle was alive a secret for a year. The last 2 weekends at shows, everybody asking or saying, assuming she's dead. I'm like, you people, you don't really believe Dawn would kill a legacy character off camera and leave it open to interpretation of whether she was dead or not, But people fell for it, which is great.
That's good, yeah. Some things seem obvious to us who watch movies or make them and, understand the storytelling beats. But then you remember not everyone engages that intently with narratives, and so they might get tricked, and I think that works. It's good to pull one over on people.
It is, and there's also other reasons you could suddenly meet your demise. You could be a difficult actor to work with.
That's true. Yeah,
killing you off because they can't take you anymore.
In this episode, Christine, you got to work with Fiona, who is one of my favorite additions to the Chucky franchise, and Lachlan, who I just spoke with for last week's after show, and they were fantastic. They were such a wonderful conversation. Literally, my technical director applauded after this kind of mini speech that they gave. So what was that like, sitting down and getting to do a scene with them? It's
awesome. I'm a big fan of both of them. I'm a big fan of both of their work, and I'm a big fan of them as human beings. So Lachlan felt like family really quickly. That's the Chucky set really is a family set. In some ways, literally family set, mm-hmm. In other ways, more extended family set. But they fit in like they've been there forever.
Both your characters in this episode, something I noted was that very quickly within their first few lines of dialogue, they ask about each other. Andy is woken up by Devin and Lexi, and one of the first things he asks about is Kyle. And by the way, your reaction to kind of remembering that she perished in the house explosion, oh man, that was so good, dude. I know that crying is very difficult to do, to find that emotional core to do on camera, on command, but that was so excellent. I feel like you continue to improve every time I see you on camera. I'm just like, hell yeah, Alex keeps fucking nailing it, dude. And then similarly, Kyle, very quickly when talking to Chuck Nika, as I have deemed them, asks about Andy. And I love that your characters have that relationship towards each other. And it seems like you guys in real life also have that close relationship.
We do. I mean, we definitely do. We have for years. You know, obviously there was a break when I was a child still, and we left the set of Child's Play 2, but we reconnected in about, I think it was 2012, Christine, around then, right?
Oh, okay.
The brotherly sister relationship that Kyle and Andy share is very much real in our lives as well. We're very, very dear friends. As far as the characters, yeah, you know, when that much trauma is built in your life, especially in terms of few people believing you and questioning reality, probably at times, connections are difficult to make, especially for Andy and Kyle. So I think their relationship is really impactful to their lives and to their grip on reality, certainly for Andy.
Kyle's maternal toward Andy, and I think that's part of the success of Child's Play too. I think people really enjoy that dynamic and the relationship of two kids. You know, the awesome big sister and two kids fighting Chucky without the assistance of adults, you know?
Yeah, that's always been one of my favorite parts. And yeah, it must be cool to be the central protagonists of what is, I think at this point, largely considered the fan favorite Chucky movie. Like, that's got to feel great.
Yeah, that does seem to be the consensus for good reason. Part 2 is outstandingly fun. Chucky's character had already been established, so we really got to understand him more in that film, and aesthetically it's awesome, and the experience of making it was incredible, and having Don on set every day and excited about it makes the memories of it all the more fun. But yeah, it's a beautiful and incredibly fortunate thing to, like with season 1 in particular, tap into the tone and feel and nostalgia, not just for the audience, but even for us.
What were you guys up to before you got the call for Curse and Cult? Like in your real lives? Because Alex, I know that you left acting for a while. So I'm just curious on a person-to-person level, like what were you up to during those years?
Well, you know, yeah, I when I was around 12 years old, auditioning wasn't fun anymore. I was kind of over the business and wanted to be a real human being, I guess. And I don't know how much I succeeded at that, but yeah, I went to school for audio. I've maintained being a creative person. I can't control that. Most people who follow me at all know that I write a lot, and I've published poetry books, and I make music. I knew that this would always be part of my life, but I guess for a while I was a little resistant to it defining my life. But it was around the time that I started doing conventions that I realized this is something that I am proud of, and seeing the appreciation from the hundreds of thousands of fans at this point that I've met gave me an opportunity to really embrace this incredibly fortunate opportunity that I've had in my life.
And Christine, I know that you had been already acting by the time you got your role in Child's Play 2. You had spots on Baywatch and some other shows. So yeah, what were you up to before Kyle's return in Cult?
A lot. I mean, I have been an actor all the intervening years. I never gave up acting. I work less than I'd like to. I think that's true for most actors. And the older you get as a girl, the less likely you are to work too. It's just this unfortunate fact. So I've done a ton of other things to keep myself feeling creative and accomplished. So I programmed film festivals for like 20 years. I did a short film called Bathing in the Single Girl that I did. It's a 10-minute comedy about the indignities of dating younger men. And for about 5 years, I was working in post-production too. I was working as what they call a story producer in for Magical Elves that do Top Chef and a bunch of other shows. And I worked with the Soska twins on their game show, Elevator.
Oh, awesome.
I've painted people's gyms. I worked in a photo lab for a year. I'll just do anything to stay busy and to keep money coming in.
I love hearing that both of you obviously kept up your creative endeavors because, like you said, Alex, it's not something that you can turn off. You know, if you have that drive, you're going to do it, whether it's paying the bills or whether it's flourishing or not. And what's cool is that obviously you stuck through it for your entire lives, and that now you're kind of getting rewarded for that with this show that I think is only growing in popularity. To me, it seems like season 2 is even bigger than season 1 and has reached a wider audience.
It is. It does feel like that. It does feel like it's gaining a little bit of momentum with each episode almost, you know, and I think the storytelling is getting more and more complex and interesting. So yeah, it is incredibly rewarding to be where we are right now in this, after this very, very long journey to get here.
As far as being a creative type and staying creative, like it's like you're sort of born, not made. And people would, say to me, have said, I couldn't do what you do. I couldn't live with the financial insecurity. I couldn't take the rejection. I've had casting people say, we don't want her for the job. We want a pretty girl, things that's incredibly harsh. Like you don't have a soul. Like you don't have a fucking soul, It never felt like a sacrifice to me. Although if I look back sort of objectively, there were sacrifices made, but they didn't feel like sacrifices because I was pursuing something I really wanted. I get asked a lot by people like, how do I get into a Chucky movie? How do I, I want to be a movie star. I want to be in movies. How do I do it? They always assume that it's some sort of a magic trick and they can just, first of all, you can just get into a Chucky movie. I was on a panel one time with Dawn and somebody asked that question and I was always didn't want to say the meanest answer, which is you have to be a fucking actor. You have to be a fucking actor. You can't just get in a Chucky movie. As an actor, you don't pick, I'm going to be a horror movie actress. You take the jobs that you get offered. My resume doesn't necessarily reflect my taste in television or my taste in movies. It reflects the jobs I got. Some of the stuff on my resume I'm really proud of. Some of the rest of it just paid bills, But it is hard. And if you're doing it to get rich or if you're doing it to be famous, don't try. Those things don't happen to most people. I'm not rich and I'm not famous. Famous is as a household name. Madonna's famous, the Kardashians are famous. I'm not. And so it's just it's a grind. It's a grind, but it's what I want to do. And I'm happy. I don't have any regrets about choosing this path and very happy with it, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely not on the same level, but I feel a very kindred spirit with that answer because a lot of people will talk to me about like being a YouTuber and having a successful channel. And I'm like, you can't do it just to, like you said, get famous or get rich. You have to do something that you're really passionate about because it is a lot of work that you don't think of. You only see the end product and think, hey, that looks fun to stand in front of a camera and do something, but they don't see all the work that goes before it and that goes after it. And it's a lot. So you really have to have that drive and passion for what you do to overcome all those hours and succeed at it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's similar to the sort of the suggestion if you're buying art, you want to collect art, buy what you love because you're never going to know what's going to end up more valuable down the road. So don't buy for investment, buy what you love. And so do what you love for work. And if it doesn't, you have to be happy doing it, even if it doesn't pay you. And Alex and I did a podcast last year for season 1 of Chucky, which was more work than I think either one of us anticipated.
Podcasts will do that. Yeah, they seem like real simple things to just do real fast, but they're not.
It was my second podcast that I did, and both of them I was excited about and then got gradually less excited about as I was doing it, and they were one-offs, I feel like, in both cases. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of work, which really is a testament to, someone like yourself who's been working so hard at this for so long. You got to feel proud about, the credit and the respect that you get after all that hard work. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And to get traction, it's a big pond out there, and so it's difficult to get traction. You've got such incredible traction. Your table was really busy at Monsterpalooza too. You guys were people were swarming on you like ants on a Cheeto. You were very, very popular in that room.
Yeah, no complaints about that. That weekend was actually very validating for us because the channel does well, and obviously I'm proud of the work that we do. But there's still, when we talk to certain fields in the entertainment industry, there is a sort of like condescension sometimes of like, oh, you're just a YouTuber, and Chelsea and I would like to expand our work and do things outside of the channel, and we've run into roadblocks because people don't take us seriously since we are just online content creators. So that weekend was really nice to have as what we're doing does matter to some people, all the people who came up and talked to us and told us what it means. I'm sure you get that too when people are telling you what you mean to them.
Well, I don't know about you, James, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
I think that's really the absolute best way, that the appreciation is consolidated and genuine. And yeah, I don't want the attention of the entire fucking world.
Yeah, and like you said, the people who do know you know that they're sincere. Horror fans are so passionate, and they're very accepting of something like Chucky, which is pushing the boundaries and the social boundaries, and has been for decades now, thanks to Don. And the fact that people take to that and accept it and are making it so successful, I think is a good sign that we're in good company.
We're in excellent company. I mean, really, especially, someone like me who really just kind of did one big thing that has lasted as long as it has, which is incredible. I'm incredibly fortunate and blessed for the fact that it was horror. These are people that are dedicated, appreciative beyond belief. Couldn't have worked out better in terms of having an audience that are people that I can relate to more often than not.
And the fans are super loyal. So, we did a reboot of 90210 in 2019, and the fans didn't embrace it. They just sort of gave it the finger. And so we didn't get a second season out of it. I thought the show was great. I thought it was really smart and funny. I thought we did the only dignified thing you could do to continue with that project, and not look like a bunch of old people, trying to live their youth. So I was really afraid that Chucky fans would do the same thing with us and reject it. And Chucky fans, everyone's got their favorite Chucky movie, mostly Child's Play 2, but not all. And their least favorite versions of the doll. And it's sort of, there's different camps bickering with each other about minutia. And so I was afraid that would carry over into the show, and it hasn't. The show just gets like nothing but love. It's so gratifying to just, nobody's bickering about anything. No one's complaining about how the doll looks. No one's complaining there's not enough violence or not enough language.
Yeah.
They were patient and embraced the kids, all the new cast. They completely embraced them, including Nadine, is the newest one. I'm just so glad, because it would really, really have been disappointing if they got their panties in a bunch about something and we didn't get a second season.
Well, I think it's like Alex said, it's the fortune of having worked in horror, like you said, to the luck of the draw, you got put in a horror movie when you were so young. Because if it were something that were just a drama or a comedy, there wouldn't be that fan base, that loyalty all these years later. Like us horror people, I don't know what it is about us. I've always said it's because horror fans tend to be kind of outsiders in their own world socially, and so they're drawn to horror and then just find the kinship there, and so they don't want to betray that loyalty.
Absolutely. I think we are, for the most part, uncomfortable people that find comfort in each other. But it's just we are a bit of an outsider bunch. We are. I kind of, those are the people I gravitated to in high school also, people are more genuine when they're a little uncomfortable with themselves. Mm-hmm. I think, and you relate to people on a deeper level. And in so many ways, I'm fortunate that this was a horror film, not least of which is, the fact that I do these conventions. I don't know how many drama cons there are.
Yeah.
So it's pretty incredible to be able to travel across this country and even across the world and meet people that are very similar in sensibility and taste, and kind and genuine people that are full of appreciation and dedication, and I couldn't ask for a better situation as far as that goes.
And we couldn't ask for a better godfather in the situation in Don Mancini. Don is just such a true family member and is so sentimental and nostalgic, and has great taste in people, and then likes to collect them and keep them around.
I love that.
He treats everybody really well. You seldom have a showrunner that is on set every day and is spreading nothing but love and support. There's no pressure, there's no negativity coming off Don. You don't feel the stress he's under. He must be under a great deal, but you never feel it. He's just like, you see the cast is draping themselves on him, hanging on him like he's Santa Claus, Everyone genuinely loves him.
There's not been a single after show interview I've done without the person bringing up Don and just how wonderful he is, and that's how it's sincere and genuine, and not just the showrunner's great, because I have to say that it's so lovely to hear that about him.
It's incredibly sincere. I mean, because he is, and whether you met him for the first time last year and this is the first thing you worked on, or you met him when you were 7 years old 34 years ago, that's the glue that holds this Chucky family together. And it's his love for not only us as people, the story he's telling, and the genre as a whole. I can never say enough nice things about him, as much as I I do express it all the time. But yeah, we all do because we mean it, and we love him a lot. Incredibly grateful for his loyalty, his brilliance, and his vision. Yeah, exactly like Christine said. I worry about the stress that he must be under all the time, and he never seems to be all that worried about it. And yeah, it's a remarkable thing, and he's a remarkable person.
Just to bring it back to your characters before we go, I was wondering how much you've thought and or discussed with Don what your characters have done in the years where we weren't seeing them. And I imagine, I feel like I have a better idea of what Andy was up to, maybe, because he seems to have, holed up in this cabin and really took to that military training. But I am real curious, Christine, what your ideas are, what Kyle's life has been before she was reintroduced at the end of Cult.
This is going to be a really disappointing answer. I don't think about that a lot.
Okay.
I when Dawn said she was coming back, I was really concerned that she not be, a soccer mom or something, sort of, really mainstream. I kind of wanted her to be, a ninja assassin, which is sort of what she ended up being. So I was happy for that. I am not an actor that does that sort of, I don't write a Bible for my character. And I think in the case of Dawn, it would almost be a mistake too, because at some point that stuff will likely be covered.
That's right.
And it may be different entirely from what I would have imagined in my head. Certainly, it's most likely to be very different because Dawn always is so, it surprises you. I think for sure she and Andy stayed friends throughout because of the, I think that they are close and remain close in the intervening years. But beyond that, I don't think she's got a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I was sort of relieved that the suggestion that she had a boyfriend by the Polaroid or whatever in the rear view, in the visor in the car. I'm sort of relieved that storyline hasn't really materialized. It's still so mainstream, and I don't want her story to be regular.
Yeah, I mean, Christine really answered that perfectly. I have thoughts sometimes about certain things that Andy may have gone through, but I don't really live in that too often. I never really want to fill in any blanks that Don hasn't filled in on his own, even though it's a very collaborative thing, I think, between not only me and Don, but all of us and Don. There are structures and basic ideas and thoughts about where Andy has been that I believe, but I'm willing to always entertain all options that, maybe I don't know everything that everywhere he's been, because maybe it will be told to me someday, and I don't want to take that storytelling out of his hands and put it just in my brain.
Of course, yeah. And then have to recalibrate and be like, oh no, I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, even part 3, I just actually watched a little bit of it. I don't watch that one very often, but I did kind of make a point of this, and I even said it to Christine the other day, that when I got Curse and Cult, I didn't really go back and watch Justin Whalen's version of it. I wasn't trying to pull anything from that. I know the story. I know where Andy was. I have seen the film before. I relate to the character the way that I do, and I don't spend too much time trying to fill in blanks of pieces that I wasn't there for, or parts that I didn't. I don't know was Andy's experience.
I kind of would like to know how you got out of this insane asylum. I'd kind of like that.
I do have thoughts on that. I think you were very critically involved in that.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I would hope
yeah.
So, yeah. I know, it was so funny that it was set up as this big cliffhanger at the end of Cult, and then the show starts and you guys, oh yeah, he escaped.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's best to be left up to your imagination also,
Yeah, and like you said, maybe Don will fill in that blank later on. Who knows?
He very well might. So yeah, don't marry yourself to any of your thoughts or ideas about it, because you never know.
My last question for you, Alex, is a real simple one. In this episode, we see flashbacks to that scene that opened the season where you drive the truck off a cliff and it explodes. But we see a little bit more, and we see the dolls dragging you away, which in the version I saw still has the puppeteers, which is hilarious as they drag you away. But there are a couple of shots where there are explosions and it looks like practical dolls flying in the air. And I just wanted to ask, were you on set? Did you get to witness these Chuckies being blown into the air with a practical explosion?
Absolutely. It was one of my favorite days of the summer.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll text you one of those videos someday.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I was there. I've gotten to see a few explosions over the years with the Chucky thing. I was there for Eddie Caputo's house blowing up.
Oh my
when
God.
I was young.
That actual house that they blew up, it looked like? Yeah.
Yeah. I was there for that. And yeah, seeing that truck blow up and seeing Chucky's being projectiled out into the air was it was a very fun night. And that was, when you spend all night out on location in the middle of nowhere, I mean, some of those nights are long and tiring and exhausting, but that one was pretty exciting for everyone that was there. It was a really fun night.
Those have got to be the moments that kind of like give you a little booster shot of why you do what you do, for everyone, the crew, yeah. Everyone. It's got to be like, oh yeah, this is why we do this. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me, for spending your time talking to me about this episode and just a wide berth of things. It was really nice talking about just the creative lifestyle, Well,
also thank you, dude. I mean, you've certainly done your part to keep Chucky in the minds and thoughts and hearts of everybody on your channel. And I can't tell you how many people have asked me, and sent messages and asked me in person if I watch your kill counts and if I watch your videos. And when I posted the picture of us together at Son of Monsterpalooza, I got so many people were excited about that. So I really want to thank you for playing your part, and I'm very, very happy for you that you got this opportunity to do these after shows with us, because you're doing a great job on it, and we certainly appreciate the love and affection that you've shown to us and to our franchise.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, I cover a lot of horror movies, but there are some that I give extra special attention to, and the Chucky franchise, because I covered it initially 5 years ago when I was just starting, and those videos nowadays aren't up to snuff. So that's why leading up to season 2, I was like, I'm going to redo all of them with a lot more information. And I think it was a success. I think it got people to really take another deeper look at the franchise and at Don, and just the remarkable things that Don and everyone around him have accomplished. And I'm so proud of that.
Well, thanks, man. We're really, really appreciative.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see each other a lot more often in the future too.
We will.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thanks guys. Have a good one. And I can't wait to see how the season ends.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thanks again to Alex and Christine for talking to me. It was a nice distraction after the ending of that fucking episode. Good Chucky. Oh my God. It was so funny because that episode felt like a lot of cliffhangers happening. I actually meant to ask Christine how her character wound up in the car with Chuck Nika after their dinner table scene, but it was like all these cliffhangers, and then it was just that exclamation point at the end of it. Holy shit. Anyway, like I said, great distraction talking to them about just the arts in general. They're both such wonderful people to talk to. And like I said, I talked to them in person a couple of weeks ago at Son of Monsterpalooza, and they were just as lovely in person as well. Next week, we will have Chelsea back for the episode 7 after show, and she wouldn't miss the finale either. So, you know what, Glenn? I think you did a better job than both your parents. None of you said a lot, but you just have the most friendly atmosphere about you. So thank you. God, I wish we could have Billy Boyd do some ADR here, just really react to it. But alas, maybe in the future. Thank you for joining me for this, and we'll see you next week, everybody.